Democrats' tax proposals are beginning to take shape in Washington. Elon Moy joins us right now. She has more on all of this. And I guess that's a relative term, beginning to take shape. Right, Elon?
Well, Becky, we do have information about two new key proposals that Democrats are now floating in order to pay for their social spending package. The billionaire's income tax would impose the capital gains rate on anyone with $100 million in income or $1 billion in assets for 3 consecutive years, even if they have not realized those gains. Now, Democrats estimate only about 700 people fall into this category, but they could wind up paying hundreds of billions in tax over the course of a decade. Now, that idea is spearheaded by Senate Finance Chairman Ron Wyden, but the reception in the House has been lukewarm. Ways and Means Chairman Richard Neal argued that his plan for raising rates and making millionaires pay a surtax on income has already been fully debated and vetted.
I think that if you consider that the caucuses I met with even in the last 48 hours in the House, there's more steadfast support for what we did in terms of rates than at any time since I think that we offered our proposal, which is now 40 days old.
Another new idea that Democrats are pushing is a minimum tax on corporations. They want to create a 15% rate on book income for companies with profits of $1 billion or more. Now, importantly, moderate Senator Kyrsten Sinema is backing this. She's calling it a common sense step, but it is currently unclear where she stands on the billionaire's tax, and that's going to be important for determining whether that can even survive. Guys, back over to you.
You know, Elon, I think that this is so convoluted and so important to kind of pay attention to the details here. And this is not a defense of billionaires. Look, you want to raise rates on billionaires, put a surcharge on them. That is one thing. But when you start talking about taxing unrealized gains, I know they're only talking about it impacting about 700 people right now. But, you know, back in 1894, the income tax was only for people who were making over $4,000 at that time. The idea of going after unrealized gains is a big deal for any American who has spent time saving up and doing the right things by putting money in the stock market and hoping it will grow over many, many years, many decades. That's the way to prosperity for most average Americans, if you can actually do that and save and do the right thing over time. If they're able to tax unrealized gains, say your Tesla shares went up 100% this year. Well, what if next year they go down 80%? How do you get some of that back? It's very complicated, and it's the idea that you are no longer taxing income. You're taxing potential gains that you've never actually gotten a hold of or gotten any income or any result out of it. I get it if they want to put constraints against being able to use your equity to make other loans so that you can actually live off of that. I understand that. But the idea of being taxed on gains that you've never realized is a crazy one.
Yeah, so there's a couple of things here. So first of all, you would be able to carry forward losses indefinitely if you have them. You can also, there's some limited ability to look back for maybe about 3 years on some losses as well. So, you know, the ups and downs of the markets, they're saying, are accounted for in this plan. The other piece of this is that at least right now, Senator Wyden is being very adamant in saying that this is only directed at the billionaires. The threshold for having to pay this tax, right, it was not moving down in these negotiations. But you're right. I mean, the original version of this plan that came out about 2 years ago had a much lower threshold and was directed at millionaires. Now, there were carve-outs for your 401k, for homes, for farms, et cetera. Those carve-outs do not exist now because the threshold is so high. But to your point, you know, once the precedent has been set, the concern among some is that it can easily be lowered in future tax debates. And now you're starting an entirely new system of considering how people earn their money when what is considered taxable income.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.